Well, we all know that the devil went down to Georgia. Charlie Daniels told us that. But did you know our very own Law and Crime Brian Buckmire went down to Georgia as well? He is in Brunswick as he is covering the jury selection in the case against Gregory McMichaels, Travis McMichaels, William Bryan in the death of Ahmaud Arbery. So, Brian, I know it's been a numbers game to this point. Are we plodding toward that magic 64 prospective jurors? Where are we?
I mean, Michael, this morning we took 55 steps forward and 1 step back because on Friday night we had 55 prospective jurors. But of course, Judge Walmsley said there was one juror who had child care issues. She told the court that while she does have a child under the age of 6 that has daycare before 5:30, she would have to pick up that child every day at 5:30. And the judge, along with the defense attorneys, were kind of skeptical as to being able to keep that schedule each and every day. The judge thought about it and early this morning said, you know what, we're going to dismiss that person. So back down to 54. We had 17 more prospective jurors come in and one by one getting dismissed. I mean, Michael, one got disqualified because they had a felony record, and even though they did probation, they didn't go back and restore their rights. It took some time for the judge and the attorneys to kind of all sit together and just look up her background and see if she could qualify. She did not. Another, which is an interesting rule I've been seeing here in Georgia, is if you're over the age of 70 and you just do not want to participate in jury selection, you seem to just be able to get disqualified. And that was another juror that we saw today, but we've also seen that in the past. And the other really big one, Michael, that I haven't seen too often in this case, I think this is actually the second time only, but a prospective juror said that they had a fixed opinion that cannot be shifted, but unlike many of the prospective jurors, said that the McMichaels and Bryan should be acquitted and that no amount of evidence would change their mind. Again, that's the second time we've heard that of all the prospective jurors come in so far.
And you wonder sometimes when you hear that, is it true? Is it just, I don't want to be here, deal with this? And I also know, Brian, sometimes these folks, maybe not quite as strongly opinionated, will get through into that second round, and that means one of the attorneys has to burn a peremptory to get rid of them. Do you get a sense from those people you're seeing qualified of this first 64, those that you know as a trial attorney, they're not going much further, they're going to be gone? Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah. Michael, it's even to the point where I'm trying to take off my shoes and use my fingers and count to 12 to see who of these 12 are actually going to be here. The reason why we keep using 64 is because we're thinking about this from a math game. And the easiest way I've been able to do it is you think of 3 sets of 12, and then 24, because you have 4 alternates. The prosecution gets 12 peremptory challenges. You've got to get 12 to the actual jury. The defense and the prosecution share 12, and then 24, being that each defendant has 8 peremptory challenges. And I understand that mathematically 64 is the magic number, but I cannot see how some of these aren't going to be challenged further down the line. I actually spoke with some of the defense attorneys, and it was interesting to me that some of the jurors are here because they said that they'll hope or that they think that they can be impartial. Now, Michael, I know you and I in other counties, that person would be off the jury, but it appears here, at least in front of this judge or in Georgia, as I understand it, speaking with some of the defense attorneys, that is permissible in terms of being unequivocal, because trying or hoping you can succeed will get you onto the jury. And so I think that some of them are still going to make it to the jury, where in other trials they may have been kicked off already.
Yeah, that is fascinating. Let's talk quickly before I let you go about the mechanics, because I think some people may be a little confused about how it actually plays out when they get to the peremptories. Back in the day, Brian, I used to have, my board here, and I would have like Post-its on it with each of the jury members identified, because it can happen quickly. If, jury member prospective number 4 is gone, and then that seat is taken by prospective number 23, you got to be moving these things around fast, or you lose track of who's coming up, and you look at who's going to replace somebody you want to get rid of. Maybe the person that's going to be replacing them is worse. So tell us a little bit about what you understand the process to be when that begins, hopefully in the next couple of days.
So in speaking with some of the local attorneys here, actually just some of the people who cover some of the local attorneys here, I'd say better, and also the really cool aspect about being here is every morning, Sheriff Neil Jump, the head sheriff here in the county, walks around and greets everyone, lets them know he's here to help in any way, shape, or form. And talking to him, he's like, hey, yeah, typically you'll see the peremptory challenges get done in about an hour or so because the defense already knows who they really want to get off beforehand. But you've got to think about it this way. It's 3 different defendants defendants. They each get 8 peremptory challenges, and they're sharing some with the prosecution as well. What I can give our viewers some insight to is it appears there is some coordination. I often see the McMichaels attorneys clutter together during their lunch break, kind of going back and forth and talking shop as to what may be the next move forward, where you're seeing Kevin Goff, who is the attorney for William Bryan. He's not typically with them, but in the court proceedings, during jury selection, you often see him take that long walk up to the podium and stop with one of the Hogues. He often talks to Franklin Hogue and then often stops directly in between Jason Sheffield and Bob Rubin, the attorneys for Travis McMichael, and he seems to be coordinating to some degree. The others also do it with Goff when they get to, for example, asking a prospective juror who has a tight relationship with Ahmaud Arbery. One person got struck for cause. Jason Sheffield was about to go up there and give a very long jury selection type voir dire, but it appears that they all kind of coordinate together and say, hey, we think we've got this prospective juror off already. We don't need to have another attorney question him as well. So hopefully that coordination also permeates into peremptory challenges.
Yeah, that is good stuff, Brian. And that is the kind of stuff you only get from being on the ground there. And having done this once or twice, that was my favorite part of the process. You ingrain yourself in the community. You get to know the players. It is a fascinating process, and we appreciate you being able to share that with us. Good job, good work, and we will check in with you again, Brian.
My pleasure. Thanks, Michael.
Take care, bud.
It was the video that shocked the nation. An unarmed black jogger, 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery, gunned down in broad daylight. The 3-man charge will now stand trial. For live gavel-to-gavel coverage of the trial, subscribe to Law&Crime on YouTube TV today.